Hi, I'm Kelly Lamrock. I'm here in Marysville today. This is where Karen and I and our kids have called home for the last decade. You know, I really love this community. It's a special kind of place, from the community breakfast in Marysville to the way that folks in Barker's Point rally to help each other to get through times of flooding, the way folks in Majorville support their local businesses and support local farmers, the way that folks in Pepper Creek and Noonan are starting to grow and fill up that neighborhood with so many young families. Look, I've always been made to feel at home here on the north side. And from Slabtown to Baseball Hill, this is a special kind of community. Now, I really think that community matters. You're going to see an awful lot on television about this leader or that leader, this party or that party, and those are important. But remember, when you hold that ballot in your hand, you're choosing ultimately a member of the legislature for your community. That one person who you hope is connected to your community will be out and around and listen, but not just listen, but can also go tell your story, get your voice heard, and sometimes, yeah, fight a little bit to make sure that your community concerns get heard. You know, I think community is important in getting things done. Now, we've had a good few years together. Thanks to the work of a citizens group to bring the Route 8 bypass to public prominence, we were able to finally get that road started after people in Marysville waited 30, 40 years through broken promises. Finally, that road's getting built and the truck traffic is coming out of Marysville. I think it helped to live here and be a dad, to understand and listen to people when they said they worried when they saw log trucks spill where the kids waited for the bus. I think because of that, I was able to tell that story in a way people around the province understood why this had to be a priority. I remember going door to door in 2005 when the floods hit Majorville and Barker's Point, actually going around surveying the damage to homes and listening to senior citizens who found that $5,000 deductibles left them unable to replace fridges and stoves and heaters and furnaces and the things they counted on to feel secure. And I think by telling that story, we were able to make sure that in 2008, when the floods came back, this time when I went door to door, we were able to get deductibles down. We were able to make sure families got the help they needed and the checks showed up in a few days, not 5 months later. I think having an MLA who's part of the community helps us tell that story better. Now, since I was elected, I've had over 25 town hall meetings, and I've always tried to listen and learn. You know, it was citizens in Fredericton who said we needed a community college to get a chance for our young people to learn a trade and stay here. Now, I remember when we first raised it, the Conservative minister said, that's pie in the sky. You're promising something that'll never happen. But you know, the research was sound. People here knew what they needed to do well. And because of that, we were able to deliver a community college that's being built right now. The Cliff Street Bridge Ramp, another example. It may seem like just a bridge ramp, but it also means that you can get home a little sooner. You don't spend 20 minutes stuck in traffic on Union Street. That's 20 more minutes of calm to spend time doing your homework with your kids, talking to them about the school day, get a family dinner on the table. These are the little community touches that sometimes turn something from a project into a story we can share. I'm proud to be connected to this community. This isn't a place where I drop by. It's not a place where you'll see me only if I win. No matter what happens, this is where I'll be. Whether it's coaching those basketball teams like the Nassau Middle School Nordics or the fearsome Marysville Suns and YBC, whether it's taking my kids to a Royals game, whether it's making sure that we're at every Marysville breakfast with my 8-year-old daughter waking me up to make sure we don't miss it. These are the little touches that make our community special. That's why I think there is a difference in this campaign. Now, my opponent, Pam Lynch, says it doesn't really matter that she lives on Waterloo Row. She can drop by during the day and go home to Waterloo Row and it'll all be the same. Respectfully, I disagree. I think there's tremendous value to the little things. At the grocery store, when somebody tells me that they heard the family down the road is hurting and should I drop by and see if there's something they need from government that might help them get by. I think it matters that I don't go home to Waterloo Row, but I'm near Barker's Point, where I hear when families are hurting. Maybe that's why I've been fighting so hard for a prescription drug program. We've seen more affordable housing spaces open up in this community. We've seen a project just for low-income single residents and people with disabilities, because I saw in Devon along Union Street how people were hurting and struggling to pay rent. You don't get those details if you just come by and then drive home over the bridge. You get them if you're in the grocery store, at the game, coaching kids basketball so that parents come up and tell you what they're thinking and what they're hearing. That's how you tell our story well. And maybe that's why if you check our brochures, one of us is talking about new ideas. realigning the Princess Margaret Bridge so morning traffic isn't so crazy, making sure we have a Maliseet Interpretive Center at St. Mary's First Nation so that we can share that great culture with people all over New Brunswick and the world, making sure we continue to improve the playgrounds that we've built in Pepper Creek and Noonan so that young families come to that neighborhood, working with groups like the Kinsman Center we've represented in Devon so that we can be able to better deliver government programs from social housing to Meals on Wheels through community service organizations, making sure we protect the heritage in Marysville and have a heritage-based tenant at the old Alexander Gibson Memorial School, and that we have community services for kids at South Devon School. These are the ideas that you only know if you're talking to people here. And if you read our brochures real carefully, one of us is talking about new ideas right here in the community. The other, they got the party logo, but it's just about winning a seat for their party, not a commitment to a community. You know, at the end of this election, there's going to be 55 MLAs, whoever's premier. And you know, whether it was in opposition getting the Marysville Health Clinic here by pounding the government of the day until they built it, or in government delivering on Route 8, I always think having somebody who knows the community, who has a strong voice, who can share what we need, that's the best way to get heard. You're not just voting for a generic MLA to go blindly support a premier. You're voting on somebody who can be your voice in the community. Waterloo Row is a great place. I mean, you got to be successful to live there, but I don't think they need two MLAs. And I think we need a strong community voice here. Win or lose, you know, you'll see me coaching those teams. You'll see me bringing my kids out to community events, and Karen and I will always be proud to live here. And I think being on the north side means I'm better able to be on your side. I'm Kelly Lamrock, and thanks for listening to what's important to me. That's why I'm running.